Hi everyone. Today I will be talking about Eastern Europe. Eastern Europe includes countries such as Poland, Czech Republic, Slovakia, Slovenia, Hungary, Romania, Bulgaria, Greece, and Serbia. Important events happening in Eastern Europe are Polish protests against the communist government in 1956, new constitution of the Republic of Greece approved in 1975. Greece faces a major debt crisis in 2010, and the regime of the Romanian president Ceausescu was ended with an uprising in 1989. In 1939, Poland had the largest Jewish community in Europe at about 3.5 million. But because of the Nazi extermination camp during World War II, the amount went down significantly. Hungary is one of the oldest countries in Europe. It was founded in 896, before France and Germany became separate countries, and before the unification of Anglo-Saxon kingdoms. In addition, they were heavily involved during both World War I and World War II. Lastly, ancient Greek history, culture, mythology, literature has influenced modern Western culture, or in general all over the world. They have inspired many Hollywood films, from the earliest to the latest movies, as well as Japanese and Disney animations. Countries within Eastern Europe uses different types of government systems. For example, Poland is currently a parliamentary republic. The president, elected by parliament every 5 years, is the head of the state. The prime minister is the head of the government. The current president is Bonsal Komorowski, and the current prime minister is Donald Tusk. While in Greece, officially Hellenic Republic is a parliamentary system. The current president is Kallios Publius, and the current prime minister is Antonios Samanius. The majority of people in the region speak Polish, Baltic, German, and Slovak. In Eastern Europe, many of its citizens are Christianity. And now, some current events now in Eastern Europe are the European Union has agreed to launch negotiations with Cuba aimed at restoring relations with the communist-run islands. The talks, which could begin around March, will try to increase trade and investments. Catholics are divided on issues such as divorce and birth control, with the widespread of resentment at church teachings among believers, two separate surveys have revealed. So overall, over the course of today's episode, we'll be looking into more detail about different issues. And now, I'm going to turn the camera to Ben and Monica.
Nicholas Cecil was born on January 26, 1918, and met Georges Jorhudej in prison and succeeded him after his death in 1965. He ruled Romania according to his orthodox communist principles, causing food shortages by forcing the export of most of the country's agricultural products. The resulting unrest led to the collapse of Cecil's regime and was executed in 1989. One of his grand plans was to create tunnels to centrally heat the city of Bucharest in Romania, but was never completed. After his execution, orphans took over the underground tunnels and made it their home.
The only entrance and exit to the tunnels is an opening in the middle of the street, and entrance is only allowed by invitation. This overlord goes by the name of Bruce Lee and is a drug dealer who takes in orphans and takes care of them by providing food, shelter, and drugs. The majority of them call him either Bruce Lee or Father because he has taken care of them since they were young. There are nearly 50,000 citizens in these tunnels. The tunnels are full of people who inject drugs in themselves and kids getting high off of Arolac, toxic metallic paint fumes. The residents of these underground tunnels are skinny, dirty people with tattoos, heavily lidded eyes, and wear chains as accessories. Nearly everyone in this community is HIV positive, and a quarter of them suffer from tuberculosis. The people interviewed in these tunnels were either abandoned right after birth, lost their chance to live a normal life, taken in as a child, or even born into this environment. Even for the children taken off the streets, Bruce Lee claims that the authorities do not care about this.
One particular case is of a little boy named Nico. Bruce Lee adopted Nico off the streets as his own child and banned him from using the syringe, but only Orlac. However, Nico got to the syringe, and despite his looks, it turns out Nico is actually 17, and his growth development was stunted by drugs and abuse. He has been in the hospital for 2 to 3 months, and Bruce was the only one who came to visit him and would give him money. Any longer, and he would have been dead. This has been a recurring problem that has been evident since 1993, but is still continuing. Bruce Lee is even unable to walk down the streets of Bucharest, and although citizens and officers have seen residents of these tunnels go in and out, nothing has been done to improve the situation of the underground tunnel residents. 246.
We're good. Go.
Leaders of Britain, France, and Germany were lining up to meet with Russian President Vladimir Putin. Putin is trying to rebuild the relationships with US and the European leaders that accused him of causing all the instability in Ukraine. Because of the Ukraine crisis, many countries have been wanting NATO's assistance to serve as a buffer in case Russia tries to advance beyond Ukraine. The Czech President Bronislaw Komorowski and Obama agreed upon sending more military equipment and additional troops into the region. The United States are preparing to increase military presence in Europe, but they will need to be approved by Congress, so he has sent lawmakers in Washington to produce the funding. President Barack Obama called on Congress to support a European Reassurance Initiative, a fund of up to $1 billion that would be used to increase a U.S.-led military presence in Central and Eastern Europe. Obama said the initiative, which requires support from Congress, would bolster NATO's readiness, particularly in NATO's eastern flank. If Congress approves, then the United States will be able to preposition more equipment in Europe.
Near this time, President Barack Obama made an exchange to release 5 Afghan detainees from Guantanamo Bay in exchange for an American soldier's freedom. People wondered how Bergdahl disappeared from his unit in the Pentagon. The headquarters of the United States Department of Defense concluded that he had simply walked away from his unit. Despite the Pentagon's conclusion, Obama said that the government was not trying to punish Bergdahl as a deserter. The 5 high-level members of the Taliban, consisting of former ministers in the Taliban government, commanders, and one of them who had direct ties to Osama bin Laden, were released and had to stay in Qatar for a year before going back to Afghanistan. The Republicans criticized the agreement and complained about not having been consulted until 5 hours before the exchange. In the end, Obama acknowledged that there is always a chance that the Afghans could rejoin the Taliban or other groups seeking to harm the U.S. and would be tracking the activity.
President Obama visited Poland directly for the celebration for the 25th anniversary of Poland's first post-communist parliamentary election in 1989, which led to the emergence of Poland's first non-communist post-war government. When Obama had arrived in the airport, he spoke about how Europe's security in front of 4 US F-16 fighter jets with Polish and American flags hanging over them. This setup was a reminder to other nations of the US commitment to protect its NATO allies, a commitment some in Europe have worried is not priority of the US anymore. The initiative in helping the Eastern Europe allies, which requires support from Congress, would increase NATO's readiness if war were to break out, especially in NATO's eastern region. The proposal would increase training and exercise in the newest NATO ally. US naval forces will also increase deployment to Black and Baltic seas. Also, allies will increase the partnerships with members who are currently not in NATO, including Moldova and Ukraine, to improve their defenses according to a White House fact sheet. However, Obama mainly focuses on Russia's ancient of Crimea and the terrorist activity of post-Russian rebels when he met with Polish leaders and other NATO allies. Obama would rather not talk about the past but more about the future and the containment of Russia. The new State Department's new policy line on Russia, Obama stood in Warsaw's Castle Square as he declared, I have come to Warsaw today on behalf of the United States and NATO's allies to reaffirm of our unwavering commitment to Poland's security. An attack on one is an attack on all. Poland will never stand alone. Estonia will never stand alone. Latvia, Lithuania, Romania will never stand alone. However, just to help former Soviet bloc countries will cost $1 billion to strengthen the defenses. The defense budget of Poland alone adds up to $10 billion. As Obama stays in Eastern Europe and meets Ukraine's President Petro Poroshenko, and most likely meets Putin later in France. In a memorial honoring D-Day, Obama is reminding Russia and other opposing countries that the U.S. will support and defend their NATO allies while assuring the people of Poland and other NATO allies that this is their number one priority.
Ready? Today we have roll call going out to 2 countries. First, Hungary for the record-breaking Lego Tower, and second, Greece for the participation in the FIFA World Cup. Great job for trying, Greece.
The region of Eastern Europe is declining. There are many problems such as economic struggles and drug trades. Overall, this region is continually getting worse. The only plus side is that Obama is trying to help Czech Republic's defense by sending additional troops and military equipment. In the past, in Romania, Nicolae Ciucă succeeded the now dead Jorge Dej. Nicolae's goal was to make tunnels to heat the city of Bucharest and was never completed. Nicolae used orthodox communist principles to rule and caused food shortages, which eventually led to the collapse of Ciucă's regime and was executed in 1989. The tunnels were taken over by Bruce Lee, a drug dealer who takes orphans and raises them like his own. The tunnels, which are full of 50,000 people who get high off of Airlac, and nearly everyone is HIV positive and a quarter affected by tuberculosis. As Obama stays in Eastern Europe and meets Ukraine's President Petro Poroshenko, and most likely see Putin later in France in a memorial honoring D-Day, Obama is reminding Russia and other opposing countries that the U.S. will support and defend their NATO allies while assuring the people of Poland and other NATO allies that this is their number one priority. Currently in Poland, President Obama is trying to add additional troops and military equipment in the region but still needs Congress approval. The $1 billion idea will raise the support of NATO allies in Europe. This can be good for Eastern Europe. Meanwhile, Vladimir Putin, the leader of Russia, were having meetings with the leaders of Britain, France, and Germany. Obama has agreed to the terms of releasing the 5 high-level members of the Taliban for Bergdahl, an American soldier.